Doc. A new...
Hey, DirtyWilly here. This will likely be the final update to this build, but for good reason, because those less than desirable defenses have been solved. Bringing everyone up to speed, this is the Lightning Spear Stormlance Tactician. We primarily use the Deepest Tower Spirit Bone Crown for exceptional damage, Choir of the Storm Jade Amulet for cutting through lightning resists, and the rest is pretty much fueled by virtually unlimited frenzy charges. After a bit of respecking, it became clear that in order to get defenses up, damage would have to suffer. This tended to be a bit of a catch-22, where less offensive output meant we're now taking even more defensive damage. Gear would have to be the deciding factor. Now, this is a bit more advanced and may come as no secret as many builds are starting to use this, but the last and final unique you will need to reach that top tier endgame content is Ulrolf's Resolve Ultimate Life Flask. Try saying that 3 times fast. At the time I purchased this, it was 10 divine, and unfortunately, prices have just about doubled since then. Not exactly budget friendly, and I only recommend this as a final piece to the build, but considering the minimal investment so far, well worth it if you want to reach top tier. What this flask does is not only restore 1100 life instantly, but well more importantly, excess life recovery added as guard for 10 seconds, which it adds 1600. The best way to think of this is a 1600 additional energy shield to your energy shield. But it gets better. If you do take damage, you pop the flask, again gain 1600 guard, and your normal energy shield will now recover while the guard is up, even if the guard takes damage. Yep, very powerful. If you really want to get advanced with the flask, you can even use it before a fight. As you can see, I can't use the flask before a fight as I'm trying to click on the flask right now. But as luck would have it, we are using a Tangle-Tongued Fork Spear, which 10% of skill mana costs are converted to life cost, basically meaning every time we throw a lightning spear, some of our health will go down. If you see there, my life is slightly going down. So all we have to do is throw a lightning spear and very quickly use our flask. And there we go. 1600 guard. Say you're approaching your next section and you're about to begin a fight, all you have to do is cast Lightning Spear and quickly cast your flask. Lightning Spear, flask, there it is. Guard is up, we engage our fight, we clear the entire screen and gain all of our flask charges back. This brings us to one simple change in our skills to help support Ulrolf's Resolve Ultimate Life Flask, and in our Herald of Thunder skill, we're going to keep everything the same: Neural Overload, Innervate, Deadly Herald, Magnified Effect, and we're going to replace Electrocute with Life Bounty. Enemies killed by hits from supported skills grant 100% more life flask charges. Which brings us to our last and final update, which is our utility belt. Previously, we were using a utility belt, which granted 20% of flask recovery applied instantly. Since we are already applying all of our health instantly, this isn't really needed anymore, and you could substitute this with a rawhide belt, which has increased life recovery from flasks. You can replace it with a fine belt, which flasks gain charges per second, or in this case, I replaced it with a wide belt, which made the most sense, which is increased flask charges gained, helping to support our flask. One thing I will note, though, is this is a bit of an advanced skill to use and get used to. So there are times where you might not be keeping track of how many charges you have left, or if you get into an extended boss fight, for example, where this can really get you in trouble. In that case, I would recommend probably putting in a fine belt so that you will automatically generate flask charges over time, but in 99% of the cases, the wide belt seems to make the most sense. If you want a complete rundown of the build, everything is posted in a link in the description below, where that'll take you to Mobalytics to show you all of the passives, all of the skills, all of the gear needed up till this point. With this change, this build can now handle all of the top tier endgame content and have an absolute blast doing it. There are some other builds I am interested in trying. There's a whirling spear build, which looks pretty fun. There's a flicker strike build, which looks absolutely incredible. And as powerful as those are, this build actually does keep up. For example, this build clears 130 breach splinters pretty regularly. All of your juiciest, highest delirium maps handles with no problem, and all of your tier 4 endgame content able to take down with good consideration. Originally, when I created this build, it was just a means to make the mercenary or the tactician viable with all of these really powerful builds that are out there, but clearly it's evolved into more than that. With that said, I hope you've enjoyed the build as much as I have. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I leave you with a very difficult Simulacrum Tier 4.